we preach to get ahead of things, but a lot of times you're coming in hot and your parent has fallen, they're in the hospital, or you've noticed something big or
Yeah.
something big has happened. So you're
Yeah.
coming in 60 miles per hour. Unqualified, unsolicited, and totally honest opinions on midlife. This topic is really becoming popular, and I'd like to say that I've been talking about it for a long time. I love that my friends think I came up with the term sandwich generation. I do not. It is a term that explains that us in the middle, and we're in our midlife, on the Middle Age Management podcast, are in the middle of raising kids of any age and dealing with aging parents. Sandwiched. And this is an episode that I think will be really good to help people when they start to notice decline, kind of what to do about it.
Decline in their parents?
Yeah, like maybe that they're starting to show signs that they're needing more support or help from adult kids, because we are, I think
I think we're always our parents' kids, right?
yes.
Yeah.
And kind of what we can do about it. And you and I are both, we're great because we have my mom living with us.
And she has
Alzheimer's, but no matter what, like that's just an added thing. And then we're not even in the same state with your parents. And so I think between the two of us on the kind of opposite sides of the spectrum of being thousands of miles away from a parent, and then one living in town happens to live under a roof, kind of where people can find themselves in that, and your challenges with that as well, of not being near your parent. And we'll talk another time about siblings and that challenge with helping our parents. But this one is definitely when we start to see signs and what we can do. Are you ready?
that was like a mouthful.
It was.
Oh my
I
gosh.
was just painting the picture
Okay.
of where we're at.
Am I ready to talk sandwiched generation? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right. Always, Barbara.
Always.
I can't think of a better, more insightful topic than talking about that.
It is a big one. And I feel lucky that I can shed some wisdom and some light on this subject.
Yeah. No,
right?
I mean, yes, you, and jokes aside, you have put a lot of thought into this world.
So much that I have a book that on every episode I talk about. And I'm dead serious. I'm super proud about this book because it is something I wish I had when I started going through this with my mom. And again, my mom was 42 when she had me, but dad was 49. I have older parents, so I'm just kind of at least a decade ahead of my friends. And so I've just been going through this for a long time. So I am like in the latter stages where a lot of my friends haven't been going through this. And so I had a lot to share, and also just glommed a lot of information from awesome sources that I
No, the book is super helpful. It really is. Awesome. I know I'm obviously a big fan of you, but the book is really helpful.
I'm super proud about it, and everyone I share with,
it's concise. It's a quick read.
Yeah, it's quick. It's like almost a workbook, but I'm not calling it a workbook. It's 100 pages, and it's really airy and just really helpful things. It's no fluff. It's just really gets to the point of every chapter is a chapter you'd be handling with your parent.
Okay.
So
let's hit the highlights. Or what are we talking about?
Okay. What we're talking about is kind of when you're starting to see these signs with your parents.
Signs like what?
Do. Like when you're noticing that they are, if a lot of people seeing their parents over the holidays or whatever, there's like, oh my gosh, there's mail stacked up. Their house isn't as clean. Oh my gosh, there was a lot of expired food. They didn't look as kept up as they usually do. They were repeating themselves a couple times. And what innately happens is panic. Yeah. Right? Because they're like, oh my God, are they okay? What do I do? Blah. So number one is don't panic. Don't do, because it's okay. And
yes, don't panic. But I don't know if saying you're on the clock is fair, but you're on the clock. Like now you got to take note. You took notice. Now you got to start. You got to start making or taking steps towards a little bit more care for them.
Right.
Because I do remember with your mom when we started, like every time I go over to her house, I was always throwing food away in the fridge. That was the first thing I did. I just threw away stuff that was bad because I just didn't want her to get sick. But you do start, and then like a lot of the chores, and we vacuum or do clean up around the house. And It's sad, but then once that starts, you're there.
Yeah.
You're now
You're
those, as you say, those roles are reversing rather quickly.
totally. And there's an emotional thing that goes along with it. We will cover as well
That's
in a
hard.
different episode. It's so much, but I think the biggest thing is to pause and take a breath. And a lot of times we aren't able to tiptoe into it and slightly see something. I'm lucky that I was, because this happened years ago. But
How many years
sometimes,
ago do you think it? Let's see. That's
I mean, my
5.
mom started, like financially needed help with bills like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So that, but she was pretty self aware, and that doesn't always happen. And again, this is like that older generation is private. They don't want to feel like they're losing any of their own agency and of their own, like, pride and all this stuff to need this
It's
help.
hard.
So there is a lot of resistance. And so, us as a sandwich generation, it's like we need to know what to do. And I think it's pausing and taking a breath and be like, okay. And then you just need to like look for what's happening, not one offs, but like, okay, so I saw them one time and this was like this. But if you live in town, and then just see if the next time it's like that. Maybe you caught them on a bad day. Maybe they're not,
They were all
and just
human.
see. But I think it's like a tip of an iceberg where, when you see a little bit, there's a lot more below the
I totally
surface.
agree. And when you know, you know.
And
You just know. You just start to go like, oh shoot,
right,
something's off.
right.
Yeah.
So you just really start really seeing what areas they're needing help in.
Yeah.
And then the biggest thing is the conversation. And I think this is the one of the largest pain points for people is starting that conversation. And it's awkward because it is this role reversal and you don't want to make them feel like you're trying to take over. But honestly, I always say it's like when we talk to our kids or having a difficult conversation with a friend or your husband or a work thing. It's like you want to connect first and then come from a loving place. And once I believe when you feel like you're coming from a loving place, you feel good and then they're going to follow your lead. And also, if you say, I love you, I just have noticed these things, and you keep it in I statements, nothing about them. So they feel
Sure.
attacked. So you keep it in I statements and be like, I've noticed these things, or I'm a little worried, or
Yeah.
I have a friend who started doing this with their parents. I mean, there's a couple different, whatever you feel comfortable with. And just know this is just the starting conversation. You're going to have more. It doesn't have to be this one conversation that seals the deal. It's just like you are breaking the ice. You are starting this new phase of your relationship with your parents where you are taking more of an active role. So just know it's not one, you're just tiptoeing in. So whatever feels comfortable to you, of like, I've noticed, or I have a friend who's doing this, or, something like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's all very valid. My dad has cognitive issues, and so I think he always managed a lot of the money, and then it got
yes.
put onto my mom, and then my mom's not very good with that in numerous ways, and she's also not very forthcoming in allowing other people, I even us kids, to have any knowledge of what's going on. But my sister had to take power of attorney, and then my mom was unhappy with their financial guy that they've had forever, but it wasn't like he was doing anything different. She was just tripping out. She was just,
Well, it's scary.
yeah.
Scary.
And then she was mad at my sister and making a lot of things a lot harder.
Right.
And then I was talking to my brother, and he called my mom, and he just goes, "Mom, do you think Maggie, my sister, is cheating you? Do you think she's trying to steal from you?" And my mom was like, "No, of course not." And then he goes, "You have to let go then. She's got it."
Yeah.
And it's really hard. And this was like, I mean, I had conversations with her, my sister did, obviously, and then my brother, but it wasn't just one conversation. So just
Right.
people prepare yourself
Yeah.
that this is going to be a little bit of a back and forth. That's going to be a little bit bigger than you think as
Yeah.
they slowly let go of the reins.
Totally.
And
Yeah. It's
can't
hard.
be easy.
No.
Yeah.
And also allowing them and thinking, putting yourself in their shoes of, here's this person you took care of your whole life, and then
Yeah.
they're now having to take care of you, and you're in that stage where you might not be able to handle your stuff, and you're like, what? I paid for your college, now you're trying to, there's a
Yeah.
lot going on. And because you brought up power of attorney, there's two things I think should be in place as soon as you can, especially if your parent is showing signs where they're cognitively challenged or like
I think
memory challenge.
it's one of those things to just put in place no matter what. Like they hit an
Absolutely.
age and you're like, we should do this. We should have this paperwork.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But not always. And it can change, but having the power of attorney in place, and that is for financial purposes. So you can be helping with paying bills, because believe me, if you are not, is the biggest pain there ever was to have to get your parent. And the questions they ask is ridiculous. They're asking for a social security
Oh
number.
yeah, it's
My
hard.
mom couldn't remember. I mean, when's the last time she used it? Anyway, it's just a pain. So having someone appointed, the power of attorney for
Sooner
financial,
while your parents still are super with it makes it way
and
easier.
easier if they're not even in distress. Like if you're not noticing things, just like, hey, I heard this podcast
This is
and I
coming.
feel like we
Let's
should
get
do
it done.
this.
Yes.
So having the financial power of attorney, and then also depending on the state, they call it different things, but a medical directive or a power of attorney for medical. And it does not have to be the same person. This can evolve over time, especially, just get one in place. It's really inexpensive to do. They could be free. You can just download the paperwork for the medical, and then the financial, you can get this really inexpensive online and stuff. And
I
it
think
can
the
change.
key for that, or one of the best things from that, is like when you did it with your mom, it allowed you to be on all of the accounts, so you could start to call and handle any issue for everything. And if you don't have that, it's a nightmare to try.
It is a nightmare, and there are so many accounts, and I don't think people realize. And that's another thing, is just like having that conversation when you start, after you get the layers of the onion conversations with your parents, is getting all the financial things in one place. And if you have a financial advisor or wealth manager that's involved in the family, and just be like, let them know you are the power of attorney, and just be like, hey, I'd like to have all this thing. I want to know all the accounts my parents have. Tax returns can tell you all this information of what they have if you don't have a wealth manager. And just having that in one place, start a Google Doc, super easy, doesn't need to be overcomplicated. You don't need to pay people a lot of money for this. And then again, in a family, if you're the only child, if you're the person that lives right close, it makes sense that you're that person. But the other, medical directive could be someone different as well. But having those two things in place will be huge. And then also starting those long-term care decisions. Like, I'm just wondering, do you have a plan of where you would want to live? Are you wanting to live in place? And if they're like, well, we want to live in place, and you just need to get involved with their financial
well-being.
situation.
Is it possible? Is it feasible?
Is it possible? If there's two of them, it might be less expensive, like what their obviously care needs are and everything like that. And also, I think it's a good idea to tour a couple retirement homes. And in my book, I have a whole thing of like what to look for in a retirement home, or long range planning. And because if their care needs change, you might have to flip them to, because it is expensive to get in-home care, all that stuff. But those are the 5 things that I think are when you start to notice things that need to be in place. So
Go again.
Pause and breathe.
Pause and what?
Well, just breathe. Just relax. Don't panic.
Yeah.
Panic's you're gonna make rash decisions. You're gonna not have a comfortable conversation. So just pause. And then also, number 2, just be more aware. See if it's in more than one area, like if it's just forgetfulness, or if it's just you see where their needs might be at the present moment. And then, you're making me forget like in what order. But anyway, so watching the patterns. Number 3, watching the patterns. And then number 4, the power of attorney in place, and the medical directive or the medical power of attorney. And then number 5, long range planning. Oh, and the conversation, starting the conversation. So there's 5.
Yeah, it would be awesome if there was like a book that you could just use as a reference to know.
Do you have aging parents and you're still raising your kids? Then welcome to the sandwich generation. It can be super overwhelming, but I've got you. I wrote an ebook that helps you save time, energy, and money. And you can get your copy on thesandwichgen.com/ebook, and it will help you with all the things you need. Like rolls with
No, but that's why it's important.
Yeah.
I think, like, we're all probably capable of greatness, right? In lots of ways, but we only have so much focus. And so like, I think what your book does is it allows people to just be like, hey, you personally have done a lot of work to set this up. So, hey, look at this, because it's going to be a lot easier for you with a little bit of a roadmap. Like, don't tread new water. You can at least look at this, digest it, and then make your way.
And also,
that was my sales pitch.
The sandwich gen. So sandwiched edgen.com is my website. And that's where I share, there's a blog on there. There's tons of tips. There's my story of how I entered this. And then that's where you can access the book. And the book, like I said, is every chapter you be in. So it's not like you need to read the only 100 pages that are large font from front to back. It's whatever chapter you're in with your
Yeah.
parent. And I just cannot, I wish I could give it to everybody for free, but this is how I'm able to do more of this in the world.
We're
But it's
sounding like an infomercial.
no,
It's not
but
a
it's
pyramid scheme, people.
yeah. But anyway, I'm very proud of it, and
Yeah, no, it's
it's
awesome.
super
It's awesome.
helpful.
I mean, I think
And
the whole mission is just to try and help people. And the more that we can help people and the more that we can share
yeah,
just like a little bit of wisdom,
yeah.
to like,
Oh, for sure. And it's one of
that's
those
good.
things that it's like the gift I have to give in life right now. And who knew? And it's not the very sexiest space. But you know what? When I look on Instagram and I'm like, well, it's either like detox your house or here's a meal plan or hey, how to help this huge stage in your life that's really overwhelming and scary. And no one knows what the hell to do. And so
Well,
this
and
is
it's
mine.
emotional. Like it's a huge
It is a
emotional
huge
toll. Like
emotional.
seeing your parents, like seeing my parents as they are, seeing your mom as she is, and I've known your mom forever, and obviously I've known my parents forever. It's just it's hard.
Yeah.
And so then I think when emotions come into it, one tends to maybe not always make great decisions because they're affecting our decision making process. And
Oh,
so
totally.
sometimes just having a little bit of a roadmap to at least kind of start the conversation, at least direct it in a way is
Yeah, and
pretty smart.
and it doesn't make you want to avoid the whole topic at all.
Yeah, because it's coming, and the
It
more that
is coming.
you can get on top of it, the better you're gonna be.
It's not if, it's when. And
Yeah,
I always say aging is a privilege. So you're lucky that your parents are still around. And then it's just when you come from a loving place, you can work on things together and that it is becoming more normalized, which I really appreciate. Just like perimenopause was, where it was something like taboo or we didn't talk about forever.
yeah,
Now it's huge and talked about and it's helping millions of women. And so I love that this is having its day and the awareness on it. And I will scream tips and help from rooftops because I'm like, this is there, it is scary, it is
yeah.
isolating, and you don't need to do this alone. And like out of 5 of your friends, at least one other person is going through this.
Sure.
And you can talk to them and relate to them and like just know that you're not alone. It's that's the worst feeling is feeling alone in all this. And especially because the emotion and just needing the help.
Well, and I think also the emotion helps to make people a little bit like, lax. I don't want to say lackadaisical. Like they don't get after it because it's sad and it's hard
They're
to do it.
avoiding it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is totally normal, but like it's not going to go away, unfortunately. Because I remember when my dad first told me, he's like, "Oh, I think something's wrong." He was pointing to his brain. He's like, "Something's wrong up here. Something's wrong up here." And I was like, "Oh, you're fine, Dad. No big deal. You're gonna be fine. You're fine." And I just, positived my way out of it, but it didn't make it go away.
No.
It only came, and it came quickly, and it does come very fast. Not to scare people, but things can change pretty quickly, and if you're not ready, you can get caught.
Yeah, prepper
Yeah,
if you do the small things now, it helps you in the long run, and especially when there is cognitive challenges because they can go quickly and then it's too like it gets way harder to get at power of attorney signed
yeah,
and also information that you might need. And so it's getting a little uncomfortable if you need, but also those conversation starters really help and just start connected, coming from a loving place, and then you just start doing that. And I promise you, it'll be better than you think. You just got to get it started. So, because do for you, do for your parents what you hope your kids will do for you. And
yeah.
that'll help you. Because I want to like, and who knows, maybe your parents have a lot of things in place you have no idea about, but I mean, it could be great or it could be like, hey, let's figure
Well,
it
you
out
got to have a
together.
conversation to
Yeah.
at least know where y'all stand. And I know it can be hard. And like, money was a taboo thing in my family that my parents did not want to
As,
talk about
yeah,
with us.
as it is in a
And
child.
so it's a hard subject. And I think it still is a hard thing for my mom and her, like she's opening up a side that she didn't ever want to open up to us, but
Right.
she has to.
Yeah.
Because her choices are slowly starting to like, you know, not make great sense.
Right.
And so it's like,
Yeah.
thankfully my sister's on top of it every day, but it does take, it's a lot. It can be a lot. And the more you pre-plan, I guess it makes it a little bit easier.
Right. And you and I have a
Yeah.
little different situations, not only like that your parents live farther away and my mom lives here, is that your parents are married. There's 2 of them. And
Yeah.
I only have my
Your
mom.
mom.
And so there's different dynamics with both of those, and navigating, like, now your mom is caregiving for your dad essentially, and then supporting her. And so there's, every situation is unique.
Right.
And so there, I, on Sandwich Gen as well, I offer care chats or guidance sessions. So when you're coming in, a lot of times we preach to get ahead of things, but a lot of times you're coming in hot and you're really, your parent has fallen, they're in the hospital, or you've noticed something big, or
Yeah.
something big has happened, so you're
Yeah.
coming in 60 miles per hour. So I help a lot of people with navigating, okay, where are you in your unique situation, what can you do first, let's like crisis avert and get things in order right away. And then, or just holding space for like the emotional overwhelm of the role reversal and the responsibility. So
But
again, I wish I had it.
avoiding it, it's not going to go away.
No,
Like winter is coming. You have to winterize your
winter is
house.
coming.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and if you don't winterize your
Yeah,
house, you're going to
yeah.
get a frozen pipe potentially.
Speaking of, we need
And
to.
then I know.
Yeah,
And then you're in a worse situation, and
yeah,
it's harder, and then you're flustered, and it's going to cost more. So like if you just slowly start to make these steps and start conversation now. So like if you think about like, oh, I see my folks every week, for dinner. So you start it one Sunday, and then maybe 2 weeks later you pick it back up again. But it's not that one really passionate conversation where everything changes hands, because that could be difficult. You can slowly start to do it over time. So
yeah,
the sooner you do kind of have that conversation, even if your parents are like, oh, my parents are playing pickleball every day, they're traveling, they're kicking ass. Sure.
yeah.
But it turns, and it will
It
turn. And the
does.
more that you're prepped, the better it is.
And
Way
it
easier.
goes by so fast. And
Yeah.
so if you just start planting the seeds now, it will only be easier. And I'm grateful that my mom was self-aware, but sometimes they'll let you in. Sometimes you need to like dig in. So anyway, that
Yeah.
is our sandwich generation pep talk. And to get you motivated, and to also not have you feel overwhelmed, and give you some guidance on some things to do to put into place. And then also check out sandwichgen.com for more help,
Yeah.
because
It's,
it
it's,
again, not feeling alone and not feeling overwhelmed, I think, are the two secret sauces for thriving in this stage of our lives. And
Mine's preparation. Mine start earlier
yeah,
than you think.
yeah,
I truly believe that. Like looking back, just like, oh, having these conversations, and you don't want to talk about it, but you
right.
kind of, it's like, doesn't make it go away.
It's better than the sex talk with kids. I think it is. If that's motivation, it's not that awkward. It's just,
No,
yeah,
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 no. It's just, I think that there will be some convincing, especially if you start early. Your parents will be like, oh, we're fine, we're fine, we're fine.
yeah. Like,
But,
okay,
but
and then
the,
you can also put it on you as like, it causes me stress to not be involved in some sort of way. What if? What if?
yeah,
And again, those I
yeah.
statements, and then they're not like, what are you talking about? Overwhelmed, and chaos has started. So yes,
Get after it.
I mean, we're so good.
We are?
We are
What? Oh,
at
how?
helping.
Oh,
What?
No, it's funny.
Like we are.
We're trying.
I'm more
I don't think we
positive
have it.
than you.
I am positive. I just don't think, like, even us, we don't have it all perfect or all worked out,
No,
but we're
there is
trying.
no
That's the
perfection,
whole thing,
but it is just doing the things, and looking at the positive, and knowing that your parents are still around and you still get to be around them and have that time and connection. So we're
Yeah.
making the most of it.
Welcome to the sandwich generation.
Welcome. If you loved hanging out with us, hit that follow button and share this episode with someone who could use a little midlife magic. Now go rock the rest of your day.